Yo, what up guys, I'm Sammy and welcome back to the Soul Drop. And this is my first impressions look on the Joker's brand new shoe with 361 degrees. Of course, we have the Joker 1, right? And this is his actual signature shoe. It retails for 130 bucks, right? And it was a really nice performer. The only thing that I didn't like is that it picks up a good amount of dust. It wasn't terrible, however, especially if I kept up with my wipes, but it did pick up a good amount of dust. And then of course I have a dead stock, Denver colorway of the Joker 1. But this is actually true to size. This I went up half a size. But this is the Joker 1 GT, right? And this shoe is freaking hella expensive. So this shoe retails for $190, which is absolutely freaking insane. Like, I don't understand, right? So as far as the tech goes, of course, it is improved, right? Which we'll go over. The outsoles changed, the cushions changed, there's a carbon fiber plate in there. But 130 bucks to 190 bucks is kind of insane. $60 price increase. I feel like maybe max it should be like 160 bucks, you know what I mean? But they added $30 more to that, and it's pretty much $200, with tax. So yeah, this is of course the Ace colorway, which is the exact same as this, but it's a little bit different, which we'll go over. But yeah, if you guys do want to cop this shoe or the Joker 1, I'll try to leave in the free link in the description box. And of course, if you do choose to get this shoe, it does help me out if you buy it through the free link in the description box. And also my socks are available in the description box as well if you guys do want to cop. But let's get it started right off with the traction. So that is one thing that they did change up, and it does feel a lot better right now. As of right now, for my first impressions, it does feel like an improvement from the regular Joker 1, right? So the Joker 1, it had the diamond grip traction pattern, right? And it's just rubber. And yeah, as far as the pattern goes, it is identical. It's pretty much the exact same. I saw all the colorways of the GT, and they are all translucent, right? So in this colorway, it's translucent, and all the other colorways that are going to be available are translucent as well, or I guess like semi-translucent, But yeah, they are using a different compound, right? So like I said, the Joker 1 is rubber, but this in the GT is RPU, or rigid polyurethane. So they're saying it's a non-foamed polyurethane compound, obviously. And the great thing about RPU is that it's supposed to be better for durability. So it's supposed to last you a lot longer of a time than just rubber outsoles. But also, it's supposed to have better grip, right? So yeah, this shoe has insane grip right now, just trying it on my wood floors, right? So first of all, it's just squeaky. You know what I mean? Like, not even just doing this, but just kind of like moving a little bit. It has like a squeaky kind of noise to it. You know what I mean? And it reminds you a lot of the WoW 11. Also, the WoW 11 had really nice traction too. So that's pretty funny, right? So yeah, on a clean court, it's probably gonna have an amazing bite. Probably, hopefully just as hard as curry flow, or maybe not as hard, because curry flows stop a little bit too hard, It hurts my feet a little bit. So hopefully not as hard, but still maybe almost just as hard. I'll be happy with that, of course. And also on dust, right? So of course, that was the main thing about the regular Joker 1, like I said. So the Joker 1, I was walking around in my apartment, of course. It is dusty on the floor, you know what I mean? Like, I do have dogs, they shed a lot. And yeah, so first of all, I was just walking around, and both of these had really, or I guess this one, both of these had really good traction, of course, right? But then once I started walking around, it started to pick up that dog hair and that dust and all that. And the Joker 1, obviously, it didn't have as good traction because it was picking up that dust. It was kind of sliding around, of course, right? But the GT, it seemed to be biting through that dust a lot better, and it just didn't pick up dust as quickly, you know what I mean? And also, it's an easy, the Joker 1 is an easy wipe as well, but this was also a very easy wipe and had a really good bite after that. So I feel like it might be an improvement for the traction, which of course is amazing. I feel like, most shoe companies, they should use RPU, you know what I mean? Or some type of compound other than rubber, just because it is better. It is, of course, usually better for stops, right? Also, it's supposed to be more durable and stuff like that. Also, not only does it have that kind of like squeaky noise, but it has a very nice loud high-pitched squeak, which of course has nothing to do with performance, but I like to have a very squeaky outsole, and the GT has got you covered. So yeah, it definitely does feel like an improvement. As far as the outsole durability goes, I feel like, it says it's supposed to be more durable, so if you take their word for it, it will be better for outdoor use. However, just like in the regular Joker one, it is an identical pattern, and you do have some really thick spots and also some really thin spots. Yeah, in the thin spots, I feel like if you are playing on an outdoor court, it'll rip off pretty easily. So I wouldn't recommend it for outdoor use. However, if it is a little bit more durable than the Joker one, I feel like it's probably going to be a little bit better, but still not, I wouldn't recommend it, right? So there is a traction there. It feels amazing so far. And now moving on to the heel to toe transition, of course, through this kind of like translucent RPU, right? We can see the plate, this midfoot shank plate. It is carbon fiber. The Joker one, it's weird because when you look at the actual tech specs, it looks like carbon fiber, but they never say it is. So, and also just looking at the actual plate here, it doesn't look like carbon fiber. It just looks like plastic, right? But then here in the GT, they changed it to carbon fiber. So here in the heel, we have a little bit of a round shape, just a tiny bit. Of course, it is hella caged, but because of the cushion, which we'll get into, it's really soft, so it doesn't even feel that clunky here in the heel, right? And then here in the forefoot, we got a nice curve shape. So just from the actual shape of the sole, it feels very smooth, right? But here in the forefoot, we actually have a good amount of flex, and it's not super easy to flex. I can't really do it with one finger too easily. I got to put a little bit more force into it, and then it has a nice bit of kind of like springiness to it, you know what I mean? Of course, torsional support feels really good too, but it does feel a little bit stiffer and also a little bit springier than the regular Joker 1. You know what I mean? It has a little bit more flex to the Joker 1. It's a little bit easier to flex, and also it doesn't have as much of like a springy feel. It's still springy here in the Joker 1, but it just feels a little bit springier here in the GT. You know what I mean? So that feels a little bit nicer. Of course, it's not that significant, especially once you have it on foot. But it does feel a little bit better, you know what I mean, if you like that kind of stiffer feel. So there is a heel to toe transition. Now moving on to the cushioning setup. So supposedly, right, they are improving the actual cushioning setup through improving the actual foam that they're using, right? So here in the regular Joker 1, they are using Quick CQ Tech foam, right? So Quick CQ Tech foam is really nice. It's soft, it's bouncy, it's super duper comfortable. But then here in the Joker 1 GT, they are using CQT Extreme foam, right? And they use that in their crazy runners and stuff like that. It's supposed to have more springiness and also a little bit more comfort than the Quick CQ Tech foam. But just right now, it feels very similar. So first of all, I tried this shoe first, right? Because this is dead stock. I haven't played in these yet. So I was like, okay, I want to check a new shoe cushioning setup with a new shoe cushioning setup, right? And they both felt extremely similar. And then I tried the Joker 1, this colorway that I actually tested, and they both feel really similar. The only kind of difference is that it feels a little bit softer, maybe, you know what I mean? It feels like there's a tiny bit more rebound back, but just like walking around in it, it feels extremely similar, right? So of course, like I said, we do have a good amount of caging, so there's no actual compression from the actual midsole. However, the CQT Extreme foam is freaking soft, right? So first of all, for the insole is just a regular ortholine insole, so it doesn't really improve the step and comfort that much. But then underneath that, of course, you can see the really soft mesh strobel board. It is full length, so it is in the heel, midfoot, and forefoot. And then just touching it with your fingers, it's just so freaking soft, guys. I love the Joker 1 cushioning setup, right? In the heel, there's a lot of compression. You can definitely feel your heel dig into that foam. The forefoot gets a little bit more stiff, a little bit more dead, but it's still kind of nice. Overall core feel also is really good. Also, like I said, there is a little bit of bounce underneath your foot as well. Underfoot cushion step and comfort is like one of the best that you can get in any shoe right now, in my personal opinion. So yeah, like I said, like this Joker 1 is heavily broken in and it still feels extremely nice. So Quick CQ Tech foam actually does last a good amount of time, surprisingly, you know what I mean? Because it actually feels very similar to the dead stock Joker 1, you know what I mean? This colorway. And like I said, the GT feels very similar. So yeah, it's not that much of an improvement in my personal opinion, but it's still extremely nice. It's top tier in my personal opinion. So there is a cushioning setup there. Moving on to the upper. So the upper seems to be pretty much the exact same as well, keeping that leather material here in the toe box, as you guys can see. Look at that. And also we have the Joker logo right here, and with this line going down the middle of the toe box as well, just like in the regular Joker 1. So that's pretty much the exact same. You know, it doesn't feel really any different different at all. I guess the color is a little bit different, right? In the original Joker one, this is just white, and in the GT, this is like off-white color. Also, the laces are pretty much the exact same as well, but the tongue is different, right? So in the regular Joker one, we have a little bit of padding. It's not super well padded. It's also a half booty construction tongue, giving you a better overall one-to-one fit, right? But then here in the GT, it's kind of like a burrito style tongue, you know what I mean? Coming from the medial side, it kind of wraps around, and then it is like a half booty construction tongue, kind of, but we do have that mesh material. But then on the medial side, it's like attached to the actual upper. It's a pretty interesting type of design, right? And also on top of the tongue, it's like this really cheap feeling felt material. You know what I mean? I don't like that too much, but it does have a little bit of padding, you know? And on the bottom, it's more like an open mesh material, right? Also around the eyelets, we have this plastic material, same as the regular Joker one, for better structural rigidity here in the midfoot. And then here in the ankle area, we have around the same amount of padding here on the sides. However, in the ankle area, I actually do like this a little bit more in the GTs, right? So if you look at the regular Joker ones, the padding just stops right here. You know what I mean? It kind of like stops right here, right? But if you look at the GT, especially since this is a low top design, it kind of comes up a little bit more, as you guys can see. And there is more padding here, and we have this kind of like crazy plastic piece, you know? And then we have this kind of like external heel counter. It is identical to the regular Joker one as well, but on the medial side, it is a little bit different for the design. We have this kind of like line going down here, right? But here in the regular Joker one, that's not there. And that's about it. You know what I mean? I guess we do have a little bit of an outline here as well for the colorway. You know what I mean? But anyways, the upper is pretty much the exact same. You know what I mean? The tongue is a little bit different. You know, and also I do like how the GT is a little bit easier to put on as well, right? This one, it kind of like, even though there is like a pull tab, it kind of goes in sometimes when I try to put on the Joker one. So the GT is a little bit easier. So there is the upper there. Moving on to the fit, right? So I went up half a size for this shoe, right? And also I went up half a size for this shoe. But this colorway, I went true to size, right? So true to size is real snug. My toes go like right there, you know what I mean? So it's a very, very snug fit here in the toe box, super snug. I can curl my toes up a little bit, but it's a really snug fit. And also width-wise, it is pretty narrow right over here, right? But then going up half a size, you know, it's still snug, but there is a little bit more forgiveness, and I do like that a little bit better here in the regular Joker one as well as the GT, right? So if you know what size you are here in the regular Joker one, go the exact same size here in the GT, right? So if you want a super snug fit, then you should be fine going true to size, right? But if you want a little bit more roominess, you know what I mean? Then you should definitely go up half the size. Obviously, there's gonna be a little bit more dead space. It's gonna be a little bit longer, but it's still a nice snug fit for me. You know what I mean? So I feel like, again, if you want to be a little bit more on the safer side of things, then you should go up half a size unless you want that really snug fit. And also, I really love how this burrito style tongue feels. You know what I mean? It just feels a little bit more locked down here in the midfoot area. So there is the fit there. Now moving on to the support and lockdown, it feels very, very good, right? So as far as lateral containment goes, I mean, I had zero issues with the regular Joker one, and the GT literally feels the exact same, right? So of the RPU, the outsole comes up a little bit, you know, acting as a sidewall here in the forefoot. We have an internal TPU heel counter. So lateral containment feels like it's gonna be good. Structural rigidity feels good, you know what I mean? And we do have a little bit of an outrigger. You know, it's pretty much identical to the regular Joker one. Let's see which shoe is wider. I mean, it's probably, yeah, it's the exact same. So lateral stability was good for me in the regular Joker one, so GT feels good. And lockdown also seems really freaking good so far, you know what I mean? So yeah, support and lockdown, I mean, obviously for the Joker, the support's really good, right? Now moving on to the weight of the shoe, that's something that I'm pretty curious about. I feel like it's gonna be maybe a tiny bit lighter, but I don't think by that much, right? So 12.25 ounces, it's a little bit lighter than average. Let's check it with the regular Joker one, 12.6 ounces. So yeah, it's not that big of a difference, right? Let's check it with this colorway, because it is a half size smaller. It's 12.45 ounces. So yeah, 0.15 ounces lighter than this shoe, which is half a size larger. So not that big of a weight difference, you know what I mean? So I guess the GT is a tiny bit lighter, but not by much. You're not really gonna notice it too much, you know what I mean? Also, I do like how this is a low top design. You know, I like to play in low tops a little bit more than mid tops. I mean, obviously, I had really good ankle mobility, you know what I mean? I had a lot more freedom than compared to like old school shoes that are like high tops. But it just feels a little bit better not having anything over the ankle bone for me personally. So I do like that design a little bit better too. And now moving on to the aesthetics, yeah, it looks amazing. You know what I mean? I feel like as far as like casual use goes, this looks a little bit better with the kind of like mid-top design, but the GT also looks great. You know what I mean? Also the color, they're killing it with the colorways. Whoever is designing the colorways, they need a raise because yeah, they all look really, really good. I mean, also the regular Joker one has really good designs and also colorways. So yeah, tell us what you guys think of these settings down in the comment section below. So wrapping things up, yeah, it definitely is feeling like an improvement, right? So the cushioning setup, not really, it feels very similar, you know what I mean? The upper, very, very similar. There's just a tiny bit of like minor improvements like the tongue, you know, it being a low design, I feel like feels better for me. But the traction definitely feels like an improvement right now for my first impressions, right? So it definitely is an improvement, it feels like right now. It is a tiny bit lighter, you know what I mean? But $60? $60? You know what I mean? Like, no. I would never think to pay $60 more for just a tiny bit of an upgrade, you know what I mean? Also, it's a tiny bit more stiff and tiny bit more springy feeling, and that's it, you know what I mean? Not even that much different, you know what I mean? So, I mean, I guess if you're balling and you really love the Joker and you want a shoe and you want a slightly improved version of the Joker one, and still this is a top tier performer in my personal opinion, then I guess definitely check this shoe out. But yeah, the price does not make sense to me. You know what I mean? Like 190 bucks, max it should be 160. You know, 150 would make a little bit more sense in my personal opinion, as far as the pricing scheme goes, from the Joker one, which is 130 bucks, to the GT. But anyways, I'm super duper excited to play in these. I'm gonna play in these tomorrow, and yeah, I feel like I'm really gonna like them, right? So anyways, that about concludes my first impressions look on the 361 degrees Joker 1 GT. Again, if you guys do want to cop either of these shoes, I'll try to leave in the feeling in the description box. But that's it. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.